What's up, folks? We're back. We're gonna make this as quick as possible because the Yankees in their third game. They need to win this game tonight. They're winning 4-0 currently, right, Ed?
You're winning 4-0 right now with a pitching change happening with
The
Judge
change
on with Judge
happening.
at bat.
Yep. I mean, listen, this game started off, but the game was pretty much like the other games. However, there was a big difference in this game that the Jets just lost to Miami. And once again, I guess the Jets kind of beat themselves, which is really a problem. Otherwise, they would have a totally different record right now. They could be 2-2 or something like that. But what is your take on the game in general, Ed? We're going to make this quick, but I have a couple of things to say. But go ahead.
My take on this game was once again sloppiness. There's
Yeah.
13 penalties, over 100 yards in penalties. There was sauce with once again with a couple bad plays. I just thought it was the score I thought was closer than it was. But it's funny if you watch this game and then compare the
Mhm.
stats, it's two different things because they got
Right.
400 total yards, but they got some obviously they got a couple of light drives late when it didn't really mean anything. I never really felt they were in the game, even though they scored late and they had they tried the onside kick. I didn't really feel they were in the game in the second half. But the sloppiness, I think so. The defense is not making plays when they need to make plays. Sauce once again.
Yeah.
Uh, Disappointed me. And 13 penalties, you can't undisciplined. You were hoping that Aaron Glenn was going to give this team one thing that they needed, which was discipline, and it's not happening.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at some of my notes here. The fair catch on the 2 yard line. I mean, come
Undisciplined.
on. I mean,
That's
these guys are playing
coaching.
football since high school. I mean, you got to know that. I mean, that's crazy. Uh, Now there was a lot of penalties that were called and some that weren't called. The late hit out of bounds on Justin Fields that should have been called.
Agreed.
Uh,
Yes, it should have been.
the
That's not.
offensive
But we
pass,
didn't lose because of that call, though. I thought,
no,
right?
I know, but the offensive pass interference on Wilson that shouldn't have been called, but that was called
Agreed.
offensive pass
I agree too.
interference. Uh, the late hit on I think it was a tight end that was never called. The other penalty that happened, I forget who it was. Also, I think it was Tippmann who got his face mask ripped off. No hands to the face on defense that they called holding on the offense. So it
Dude,
was
he
a
did
very
hold. I mean, I thought that play. I thought he was kind of like manhandling. I thought that so too. When I saw the replay, I thought that was a reasonable
yeah. I mean,
play.
if his helmet flies off, it doesn't fly off by itself. I mean, somebody had their
I
hands on his
know if
helmet.
you get held, then you got your head going back there. So that play,
Yeah,
that one didn't outrage me as much as the other ones, or didn't raise my eyebrows like I did the other ones. But it's still just like you said.
it was a
It's
bunch of
just
things. I'm not making excuses, but I'm saying it was just barely officiated. I think the game, which whatever, which happens. Also,
the one bonus I did see was Mason Taylor did have 5 receptions. So I was happy to see that.
yeah, it's listen.
Tight.
I already bet the Cowboys. They're only 2.5 point favorites. I'd be shocked if they won by only 2.5 points against the Jets at this point.
I
And I'm kind of done, Ed, saying, well, this week they're going to make improvements. I did that last year, and nothing has changed one iota. Nothing has changed, not even close. Nothing has changed at all. So I don't know what's going to happen. But here's the thing, real quick, okay? Number one, the Jet defense, okay? You have Tyreek Hill wide open sometimes, okay? How does that happen? How is he not covered like glue every single play? Then he goes out, and Waddle is the next best receiver. He comes in, and guess what? He gets wide open a few times. How is he not covered? So things like that are really uncalled for and ridiculous. Number two, how come Garrett Wilson allegedly cannot get open? They can't scheme him open. Uh, I think I heard Aaron Glenn. I could be wrong. I remember the press conference, post game press conference, him saying we don't want to force the ball. You shouldn't have to force the ball. He should be wide open, like Waddle's wide open, and like Tyreek Hill is wide open. I mean, and Mason Taylor should have got more catches, and Brees Hall should be running the football 30 times a game. So there's so many things that are just bizarre to me. And obviously, I just got to keep going for a second. The Jets are obviously scared to death to pass the football, and when they do pass the football, people aren't open anyway. So Justin Fields is forced to run and scramble. I mean, I hate to say it's a bad coach team. I know he's only a couple of games in, but like I said, it's a little bizarre. And we keep expecting to turn it around. I don't see it happening anytime soon.
Nor do I. Weeks in a row that they had it. They played good teams, they
It's
played bad teams, they played mediocre teams. There's
yeah,
no reason to think they're going to turn it around until they eventually do it for somehow.
yeah.
And then I was
And,
just
and
laughing. I read one article. I'm sure you probably saw it too that talked about how Oh, you had to hear Aaron Glenn ripping into the team after yelling at them after the game. But why? How is that going to make a difference if if they're not coached well
Yeah.
and they're going into a game making these bad mistakes and it's bad. And
And
even on, Garrett Wilson, don't put the blame on him. Who else are you going to throw the ball to? So if they're zoning in on him or double teaming him, who else is there to step up for the Jets?
well, I mean, then you have to have the tight ends
It's
jump out and get open. You have to have the running back come out of the backfield. You got to do something. If they know that's the only case, they know that's the situation. Then they got to get the people open. And listen, I'm glad they ran the
If you're
football.
looking downfield, you're looking at Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, no deep passes. Nobody's open
No.
deep apparently. Nobody. They keep thinking and
No.
dunking. I got to tell you one thing too. We're going to wrap this up quickly.
He did
here
make that
because-
great catch, though. He did make that great catch, though, right? That touchdown.
Oh
was a
yeah,
great catch, though.
absolutely. Listen, the guy's probably one of the best, if not the best receiver in the NFL. Whatever. I got to tell you, I was
Extremely
listening to the I think it's Mike Florio show. You familiar with him? Mike Florio. I think
No.
it's Mike Florio. So anyway, he has a show like everybody
Okay.
else does on TV, and I believe it's Devin McCourtney. He played on the Patriots, and he had some very, very interesting things to say, which blew my mind. A lot of people know, and I hope Aaron Glenn knows. I'm sure they watch things. He said that when there was problems with holding, guess what they would do at practice? They would make the offensive linemen practice with oven mitts on. Okay?
I heard that years ago, yes.
Yeah, and that would piss
I think
everybody
you're
off. That's like a punishment. They would also take tennis balls and tape them around the hands of maybe defensive players or offensive players and force them to have practice like that as well.
They can't help.
So that's like humiliating maybe and embarrassment. And maybe Glenn can incorporate some of these things into their practices just to get the point across. I thought that was really fascinating that they would do something like that. But I don't know what they're doing to affect the problem. Obviously, it's not working, but like I says, and I'm just going to say this again for the 1,000th time, and I'm sure you'll agree, Ed. Please, Jets, lose a game but score 30 points. I just can't stand this watching football like that. It just drives me nuts.
Make it a game. I mean, they scored late, but make it a game early. Don't score a touchdown late in the fourth quarter and give you a little hope, and then that defense is going to do what they got to do. It's just we'll see. It's just that I don't expect much this week. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think about the game? Let's wrap it up as far as prediction, score, and everything else.
They should lose 24-10. Dallas is gonna Dallas. I was watching Dallas this week. Prescott looks good. I don't see them competing with the offense. I can't see it.
Yeah, I think Dallas is going to score way more than that. I think they're going to score probably at least 30 points, and maybe the Jets will score 17. But like I said, if the Jets change something around, and even if they do change it around, Ed, we're going to say, it's just for this week. Next week they'll lose. We have the same attitude as all Jet fans have. Whatever. Listen.
Let's see if the penalties decrease, if the line can hold up, if they can design some pass plays because maybe Garrett Wilson is being double teamed, and as you said, the tight end hit Taylor coming out of the tight end or hit Hall coming out of the backfield, do something. But we'll see.
Yeah. Something's got to change. I mean, we'll see what happens going forward. But like I said, listen, I came up with this scenario, basically not a scenario, but I am, and I think you are, and all Jet fans. We're married to the Jets. Okay, we're gonna stay with the Jets no matter what. All Jet fans do,
of course.
and that's it. It's like a marriage. I'm saying? If your wife cooks a bad dinner every day, what are you gonna do? You try to, like a coach, you try to correct her. We have to get better at this. We have to get better at this. Maybe she won't burn the steak next time. You hope for the best. And maybe
it's like it's like West Side Story, Dave. When you're a Jet, you're a Jet all the way.
Yeah.
From your first cigarette to your last dying day.
That's right. Well said, Ed. Well said. And listen, I'm hoping it's an exciting game. I'm going to Florida, not to watch football this time, but doing something else. So I'll have to maybe DVR the game or maybe catch it down there. At this point, thank goodness, I'm not even usually I'd be worried about missing a game. At this point, the way they score a couple of field goals and maybe a touchdown. I mean, a luckily running touchdown with Justin Fields. So he kind of scored one legit touchdown the whole game. I'm not going to be missing too much. But like I said, I did bet Dallas. Because I can see them beating the Jets by way more than 3 points, and I like to. If I hope I lose, so.
I hope you lose too, Dave. I hate to say it, but I hope you lose too. But you're probably not. But I hope you do.
Yeah. All right, Ed. Listen, let's get back to the baseball game. Let's go Yankees. Let's go Jets, and we'll try to figure out something for next week, and let's see how it goes.
Yep. All right. Always, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Ed. Be well.